Well, at PT Masterclass, and what a day it has been, a night of conversations, I must say. But we're not letting the person go so soon. We are joined by Nikhil Singhal from HSBC. Nikhil, thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to start off by asking, how has the day been for you?
Were actually phenomenal. We were actually delighted to hear Professor Datar. I think he's one guy who actually excels academically, and if one were to look at his corporate credentials, they speak a lot as well. So I think with him we saw a blend of academic excellence being actually put to corporate outcomes as well. So I think it was a great combination. It's very very good to hear him speak very candidly, and I actually want to use this as an opportunity to thank India Today for curating this event. And on behalf of HSBC, I can actually say that we're very happy to partner on this event. Really, thank you.
Great. Well, I have to begin by asking you that the conversation was interesting and around the kind of revolution that banking sector saw. It's been quite a parallel beat, innovation versus disruption. What do you think have been the key trends across the banking sector, especially post-pandemic?
No, so I think two big factors. One is the whole tech disruption which has happened. I'd call it actually creative disruption because what has happened today is the acceptance to change across bank boards, etc., has also been very high. Uh, it's very simple. Today, the target audience has increased, like we were discussing, with the financial inclusion which has actually happened.
Right.
I think boards have been forced to go back to say that what's my cost to serve for various segments of the society, right? So, and which is where the resegmentation is also happening to say that okay, this is a certain piece I'm going to actually have a larger physical interface versus a certain segment which is going to be largely served with digital interface. So I think that's where it's forced a lot of banks to go back to their boards. That's one. Two, I think the other big emerging trend, if we can read early, is the whole bit about ESG. It's actually raised the whole alarm bells around black swan events, which people have to be prepared about in advance. So while ESG was a relatively underrated theme, maybe pre-pandemic, it's actually got a lot of prominence. So if let's say a big floods which happen in a certain part of the country impact the banks, etc., or not, willy-nilly, yes, they do. Right, and climate change in that sense is a big factor to play. So, as a bank, as a banking trend, we can read this coming through that ESG is here to stay. So, I think two big trends, if I have to read as big change, is adoption to technology at a pace we'd never seen before, and the second thing is to read the trend in terms of how ESG is going to be the theme of the future.
Okay, that's interesting. Now, one key trend, and I'd not say to trend, but I'd say the biggest change that the sector saw, and you mentioned it also in your conversation at the BT Masterclass, was on demonetization. Now, do you think that demonetization played a catalyst to kind of weather the storm? Like, I know it was a disruptor, but disruption for good.
Yeah, so if you look at the period before demonetization, that was a phase when we were actually going through this whole uh, the jam trinity, the Jandhan, Aadhaar, mobile trinity, right? And there were naysayers around it to say that maybe these are going to be junk accounts, etc. But during that period, prior to demonetization, I think the country added close to about 30 crore accounts, which meant that you essentially went to the unbanked in a huge proportion. Now, whether those accounts were going to be used or not was a question mark. I think demonetization sort of answered that because in a big way, the pace of digitalization that you saw pre and post was dramatic. The acceptance rate to find for solutions across the spectrum of the society really multiplied. Uh, I think that set the tone. I would not say that that was a singular factor for digital innovation in India, but I think it clearly set the tone. Some of the players on the fintech side that we saw emerging were clear big names that came around that time. That also actually sowed the seeds for a massive payment interface to be created in India, right? The whole origin of the UPI happened then, and the whole setup of the NPCI happened around that time. And if I have to quote you some statistics around, let's say the UPI, for instance, 2021, the numbers were close to about $1 trillion of payments which happened through this. But the beauty of this is, in the first 3 months of this year, this financial year 2022-23, we're already double the last year's number on a pro rata basis. So I think the journey is very clearly defined from that. I think the combination of demon set the trend for fintech as a trend, and possibly the COVID sort of acted as a massive booster, is the way I look at it. Right?
Yes, absolutely. I'd completely agree with you because I feel that me or most of my counterparts, when we travel abroad, it gets so difficult because we start living in the FOMO of UPI, that we don't have UPI. But thank you so much for joining us on this conversation. And today, with Business Today, I hope you had a wonderful day.
Pleasure was all mine. Thank you so much.
If you like the video, do like, comment, share and subscribe.